What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another midweek episode of the Calcio Unheralded Legends of the Pazza podcast. Before we get started and dive into this, if you guys wouldn't mind, give me a like, subscribe, comment. Comment down below some memories you have of our player that we're going to talk about today, or comment down below any players that you would like to hear us mention in this series and take a little bit of a deeper dive of. But yeah, before also we get started, just wanted to shout out, I'm wearing my hometown club, One Knox. We just had our home opener this past weekend in our new stadium in the USL 1 division. Moved to Knoxville area about 5-6 years ago, and we just got a professional team 3 years ago. So shout outs to One Knox. If you guys are fans or anything, or anybody from the Knoxville area, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know down below. Love to meet up with some of you guys in the Knoxville area if you're a Serie A fan or just a fan of football in general. So let's dive in this week. This week we are going to be doing longtime Serie A defender Cesare Bovo. Cesare Bovo was born on the 14th of January, 1983 in Rome. From 1999 to 2002, he was involved in the AS Roma youth system. For the 01-02 campaign, he was getting integrated into the senior squad. He was only able to make one appearance, though, in a 3-0 loss to Brescia in the Coppa Italia. On July 1st, 2002, Bovo would make a move to Serie B side Lecce in a co-ownership deal that included Lecce defender Mauro Rizzo going the opposite way to Roma. Lecce had been relegated that season before, so this was a Serie B squad at this time, Bovo, that he joined, but that wouldn't last long. They would finish third in the 02-03 campaign and gain instant promotion back to Serie A. That Serie B campaign was under head coach Delio Rossi and also included former Calcio Unheralded legends mention and midfielder Cristiano Ledesma, future Fiorentina longtime player Marco Donadel, and future Roma and Juventus striker Mirko Vucinic. As I mentioned, Lecce would finish third that campaign and gain instant promotion back to Serie A. Despite gaining instant promotion back to Serie A for the 03-04 season, Cesare Bovo wouldn't make his full Serie A debut until October 5th, 2003, and a 4-1 loss to Brescia. For the 03-04 campaign, Cesare Bovo would make 30 appearances and score 2 goals, including a 2-1 winner over Inter in May, one of the penultimate match days of the Serie A season, to help Lecce stay in the Serie A for the 04-05 season. Due to his good performances in the 03-04 campaign, in the summer of 04, Roma would bring Cesare Bovo back to the club and keep them on their books, although they would immediately loan him out to Parma for the 04-05 campaign. The 04-05 campaign for Parma unfortunately did not go as planned. After finishing a very respectable 5th place the season before, they would struggle all season, finishing in 17th place in the Serie A for the 04-05 season, and only make it above relegation due to goal differential. This Parma team included former Calcio and Unheralded legends mentioned Sebastian Frey, Mark Berciano, Massimo Maccarone, as well as other Serie A longtime players Daniele Bonera, Paolo Cannavaro, Fabio Simplicio, Marco Marchioni, and future Milan and Italian striker Alberto Gilardino. That season, he would go on to equal his all-time best goal-scoring tally in Serie A with 2 goals, same as the season before, as well as 31 appearances for Parma. He would return to Roma in the summer of 05 and go on to play a full season under head coach Luciano Spalletti. Found it hard to break into the first squad, being behind center backs Christian Kivu and Philippe Mexes. Sometimes Spalletti would have to deploy him as a left back in order for him to gain playing time. Due to being behind in the pecking order, Cesare Bovo would make moves to Torino, Palermo, and Genoa the following 3 seasons before setting up shop in the 08 offseason back at Palermo. His move to Palermo was a €7.85 million move that made him permanently in Palermo. This is really where I began noticing Cesare Bovo and really recognizing the talents of the player that he was. During this time, he mainly partnered in his first couple seasons, new boy to Serie A, but has now been there for a long time, current Milan defender Simon Kjaer. In his first full season with Palermo, he would go on making 31 appearances and scoring 1 goal against his former side, Genoa. He would stay at Palermo for 3 full seasons, finishing 8th in his first season, 5th in his second season, and 7th in his third season. His time at Palermo also included time in the UEFA Europa League, as well as finishing runners-up in the 2011 Coppa Italia, losing 3-1 to Inter in the final. Despite his good performances and long time at Palermo, he was sold in the summer of 2011 to Genoa. The deal initially was a loan move, but that would be made permanent in January of 2012 in a 1.3 million euro move. He would join the likes at Genoa, former teammate Sebastian Frey, Emiliano Moretti, longtime Serie A defender Dario Dianelli, former AC Milan longtime player and really the first Georgia international to break through on the international stage, Kaladze, Milan legend Kevin Constant, longtime Portuguese midfielder Miguel Veloso, longtime Serie A midfielder Juraj Kucka, previously mentioned Calcio Unheralded legend midfielder Davide Biondini, Stefano Sturaro, Walter Birsa, future Inter banter era legend Rodrigo Palacio, and former teammate and Italian striker legend, if you will, Alberto Gilardino. Despite this Genoa side having a good roster, they were an older squad. They would go through 3 different managers in that 2011-2012 campaign and barely avoid relegation, finishing 17th place, both in 2011-2012 and the 2012-2013 campaigns. As we've seen in a trend, Bovo only really moved to like 3 or 4 different clubs throughout his career, and he moved back and forth in between them. The same would happen in the summer of 2013. He would move to Torino for a fee of 800,000 euro. This is really where we see the end of Bovo's career. He would only make 56 appearances over the next 4 seasons at Torino, only managing 2 goals in that time. After his time in Torino, he would make a pit stop in 2017 to Pescara before ending his career back at Palermo for the 2018-2019 campaign. Both of these squads were Serie B sides at the time. Cesare Bovo was a player who also had an impact on the international scale, although not the senior Azzurri squad. He never made a full senior debut. He was called up under Cesare Prandelli for a couple of 2012 Euro qualifiers, but never made an appearance. In the youth setup, though, was where he was more successful. He captained the U21 side at the 2004 Euros, team that would go on to win the 2004 Under-21 Euros, beating Serbia and Montenegro in the final 3-0. Cesare Bovo, despite being a player that wasn't the tallest of center backs, he was only 181 centimeters or just under 6 foot. Due to his height not being the tallest, he relied on physicality and positioning. One thing I really remember of him, he reminded me, if you remember a couple years ago when Armando Izzo was kind of coming onto the scene and a lot of people had him as a great player. Now he's at Monza, not really panning out the way it looked like, but he reminded me a lot of Izzo, kind of physical, positioned well. Because of his height, he couldn't rely on his aerial ability, so he had to be physical, be positionally right. He was always kind of nagging at the backs of the defenders, it seemed like, and always chirping at the referee. He also possessed unique attacking skills. Due to his time when he first began his career, he was a left back, and under Spalletti made a couple of appearances at the fullback position. So from the center back position, he was able to utilize a lot of his attacking skills, scoring long-range goals and assisting with lots of good crosses coming from the center back position. An interesting thing of note of Cesare Bovo, during his time at Torino, he was the only center back in all of Serie A that actually took corner kicks. And it's a very rare thing. You don't see it hardly at all. But Cesare Bovo had a very good set piece ability and would take corner kicks for his side if asked upon him. Since his retiring in the 2018-2019 campaign, he's bounced around under different managers on the coaching staff for several squads. For a while, it seemed like he was just going to follow manager Fabio Liverani, who was a former teammate of him wherever he went. He was on the coaching staff under Liverani for Lecce, Parma, and Cagliari before trying to make his mark on his own after Liverani was sacked from Cagliari. Since 2023, he has been in the Palermo coaching staff, and he is currently the under-17 Palermo head coach. That's going to do it for my synopsis of Cesare Bovo. Again, guys, if you have any memories of this guy or want to add anything additional that I did not mention, or if you want to mention a player you'd like to see talked about a little bit in this Unheralded Legends sub-series, please give me a comment, a like, subscribe, something like that. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, Forza Inter.